Action! And welcome back to the Barstool Baseball Preview Shows. This is the NL East, and before we get into anything, I want to thank Rob Manfred from the bottom of my heart for sponsoring this segment and sponsoring this preview series. Rob's a very passionate fan about Barstool Baseball. He wants you to subscribe to the channel. He wants us to continue to grow the game. So that's exactly what we're here to do at the NL East Preview. And with that, I would like to welcome Smitty and Chris Klemmer to the show. The General, how we doing?
God bless.
And Klemmer, relatively newer face to the Barstool Baseball vertical. How would you describe yourself quickly to people who are meeting you for the first time?
Mets fan that grew up in New England, so I have some Red Sox knowledge as well. I like to go against Smitty in everything, apparently, because every time our teams face off, we're usually yelling at each other in the office a little bit. So this should be fun.
Like I said at the top, two of the foremost NL East experts I could put together when we're doing these previews. Thank you guys very much. Let's just jump into it. We've got 9 prompts we've been going through for each division. We kick off with the winner. I'll start. I don't see them coming down anytime soon. I'm going with the Braves.
Yeah, I'm going with the Mets here. Obviously, some bias, but anytime you lose, take DeGrom away. He's only starting 12, 15 starts a year lately for us. And you replace him with a guy like Verlander. I know we lost Diaz, but I think the Mets can capitalize on their 101 win season last year, and I think they're going to win the East.
Yeah, like Klemmer, I'm a homer ball washer. I'm totally unrealistic with my thoughts. So therefore, the Phillies will not win the NL East. It still goes to the Braves. 94.5 wins the over-under. I think they're still very, very strong. They know how to play the regular season. Not saying the Phillies or Mets won't be bad. They won't be in contention, but I think the Braves still win the East.
Are you going to get pushback from your Phillies faithful that you don't rep them like that, or are Phillies fans like you this rational this time of year?
Baseball is such a long season. I think especially Phillies fans are pretty rational. Eagles fans, no. Flyers fans, no. Phillies fans, I think that's a reasonable objective take. Look, they didn't win the NL East last year. How'd they end up? Pretty good.
Yeah, Carl, I gotta say, I got 3 of these teams in this division making the playoffs. Got the Mets, Braves, and Phillies making the playoffs. So these are 3 very good teams.
Yeah,
and do you want to win the East? Yes, I would like I would like the Phillies to win the East. Yes, but it's the Braves. The Braves have won the NL East sans 2007 to 2006, 2011, like every year since 1990 or 94 when they switched. Sorry.
Now there is no chance that they become the second division in baseball history where all teams finish with at least a 500 winning record. Klemmer, do you remember what team that was or division?
Where they all finished 500 or better? I think the 91 AL West was like that. I want to say
close.
The 92
close.
AL West?
Very close. Now you're starting to get away. It's the 2005 NL East. Washington Nationals went 81-81. Take a look at that. Hey, speaking of the Washington Nationals, do we all agree here? Smitty, you bring up a long season. Here's a long fucking season. Everybody wearing a Nationals uniform. I got them dead last. I don't think anybody else has them dead last. Like, they're all dead last for you guys, right?
Yeah, the Nationals are horrible. This isn't just the dead last in the National League East. The Nationals are the worst team in the National League. They are atrocious. And they're not going to be good for a couple years. They're bad, and they're going to be bad again next year.
Yeah, they're very, very bad. They got contracts that they need to unload. Patrick Corbin's still on the team. That's probably an issue. But they're doing a couple of right things. Ruiz is a stud, upcoming switch-hitting catcher. I like him a lot. I like C.J. Abrams. He's going to be a star in the league. So, eventually they'll get there. But, yeah, this year, dead last.
It's not just Corbin. Corbin signed for this year and next year. Fine. Strasburg is signed for this year and 3 years after that at over $35 million a year. Look, we can pretend to put a positive spin on, their farm system's up. The Nationals fucking suck. They're going to be horrible this year. They're going to lose over 100 games again, and that's the price you pay. They won the World Series in 2019. You got to give them credit for that. They put all their chips on the table and went for it, but they're paying the piper. This team's bad.
Yeah, but they made the right move trading away their studs last year. And the talent they got back, I think, is good.
I think the Soto deal especially was a good return.
You know, it's tough when you have such different powerhouses in your division, and you look at what the Mets do, you look what the Braves do, and how much success they're gonna be able to sustain it in the long run, and where the Nationals are trying to grow. Sure, it may take a little bit of time. Smitty, I love what you're talking about, the prospects. The Braves last year signed who was a top prospect to a massive deal, and that's who I'm giving as the best hitter, Austin Riley. He's young. He's worth every dollar. He continues to get better, and it's a rare thing when you can talk about an elite baseball player where you can project steady improvement, and Austin Riley's in that category. I got him as the best hitter.
Yeah, best hitter, that was the topic. So I have Pete Alonso, but like if you talk about like best player, like all-around player, then you got to talk about Acuna, you got to talk about Trey Turner. As far as like for best hitter, just hitting alone, I go with Pete Alonso.
You're missing one, but go ahead.
No, you know what? And I want to use this as an opportunity to say I respect Trey Turner inside and out. Frankie Lindor is such a good fucking shortstop. And because Trey Turner's coming off a hot run and they're just the public soft on Frankie Lindor, he's a tier 1 elite player as good as anybody else in that division. But the category is best hitter. I'm sorry I wrote these prompts like shit.
Yeah. Oh, well, you said Austin Riley. I think that's a very, very good point. And them locking him up, locking Harris up. Strider's going to be locked up forever. That's why the Braves are perennial Eastern Division champions. Best hitter? Sorry. It's the MVP. It's Bryce Harper. Yeah, he's got Tommy John. He's going to be out for a little bit. But objectively speaking, he's the best fucking hitter in the NL East.
He's not going to be the best hitter this year, though, Smith. He's going to miss 2-3 months. Like that's
it came out. It came out yesterday. They're not even putting him on the 60-day DL. There's a chance he could be back before May. Will he? Maybe not. But if he's back before the All-Star break, like where they originally had him projected, if he's back in June, he has a lot of time to rake.
Yeah, but he's not going to. You can't compare that season with someone like Trey Turner's season, Pete Alonso's season, the Lindor season. Assuming they're healthy all year, they're going to have much more MVP votes than Bryce Harper's going to get for playing.
Okay, you're putting your best hitter in the category of best hitter through the course of a 162-game season. I'm putting the best hitter as who do I want the nuts dropping in the batter's box for 15 seconds before that pitch clock goes in October. I want Bryce Harper.
Final ruling, I think that Bryce Harper starting the season on the IL puts this slightly towards Klemmer's advantage, but I understand completely where Smitty's coming from because I'm the guy who said Chris Sale's the best pitcher in the AL East.
That's a terrible take, Carl.
This is an NL East preview, but we are talking pitchers. We are talking filth. Let's move on here. Best pitcher, I have Spencer Strider because I'm going to stay on this projection thing. I know what Verlander and DeGrom. I know what Verlander, and Scherzer are going to do. I know what Sandy's going to do. I think Spencer can go do something even crazier. I think he can strike out 14 over a 9. I think he can do crazy things this year. They say they can't see the baseball against him. They don't even know what it looks like. It's just that you can't see the ball. Spencer Strider.
Yeah, I'm going with Sandy Alcantara. Look, you got Verlander, Scherzer, Spencer Strider. Even like guys like Aaron Nola is a very good pitcher. There's so many good pitchers in this division. I'm going to go Alcantara, but I don't think there's a wrong answer here.
Watch out for Ranger Suarez, boys and girls. Watch out.
Balls the size of our heads, right?
Exactly. No, but my pick, and my Cy Young pick this year is Strider. I think if he's healthy all year, he's absolutely lights out, which is amazing because, he's possibly not even the best pitcher on his squad coming into this year. That's probably free.
Yeah. This is really an opportunity, too, because we don't have our Braves rep here. I told Big T, I was like, we're going to talk about some other teams, too. This could get ugly. We will represent the Braves balance. Now I'm coming out pro-Braves. Let me say something. Braves fans online, easiest people to get mad. All right, breakout. I have hopefully Frankie Alvarez. Hopefully.
Hopefully is right. He had a horrible spring. He's already been sent down to Syracuse. So for breakout, I looked at that as like rookie of the year. Who's the best rookie in the division? And for me, it's going to be Kodai Senga. Now you could say he's not really a rookie, but that's a fair argument. But I think he's going to have a really good year. He looked good in spring, which I was nervous about going in. There's so many question marks, but I think Senga is going to have a good season for sure.
I do like Senga. I wish the Phillies got him instead of Taijuan Walker. They don't official on that, but we'll see how it plays out. I got two. I got Sixto Sanchez if he's still alive, which I'm not sure he is. If he finally can pitch, he's going to be lights out. But keep an eye on Alec Boehm. No, he's not a rookie, but he's put on 10 pounds of muscle. He's got his fielding down a little bit. He's not making 3 errors in 1 inning and saying, I hate this fucking place. And this spring training, he has learned how to elevate the ball. This guy's going to mash this year in a lineup full of mashers. He's going to be well protected, and he's going to get possibly, best case scenario, some MVP boots.
Wow, that's a great call, Smitty, because you talk about the lineup protection too. It's not just, wow, Trey's in the middle of the lineup, but then you think about the ancillary players in the Phillies lineup. They can get better. And again, hey, this is their first spring training under Rob Thompson's leadership, who ran spring trainings for the Yankees throughout their legendary dynasty and is considered the greatest spring training mind of all time. What does that mean? I don't know. If you're a baseball guy, reach out to me for a further story. Regression. Klemmer, explain why you think this one's stupid. I'm taking Max Scherzer. It's smart, though. I shouldn't say. Not stupid. He was so good last year, he has to regress. But I also do think that he's starting to, this could be the year. One of these years, Scherzer will not be Scherzer. Is it going to be this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's true with both guys, Scherzer and Verlander. One of these years that they're going to fall off the table. You just hope it doesn't happen this year. I mean, it happened to the 65 Yankees, right? Everyone got old at once and they disintegrated. Like, you're praying as a Mets fan it doesn't happen. My regression is to, what's that face for? What's that
Whip out the 65 Yankees on us?
That is the greatest example of everyone getting old at once and your entire franchise disintegrated. I'm also old, Smitty. What do you want from me? My pick for regression is the Braves' relief pitching. I think losing Kenley Jansen, and then kind of go back. I mean, they're putting a lot of pressure on guys like Jesse Chavez, Colin McHugh. These guys aren't spring chickens either. But I think losing Kenley Jansen, moving everyone up, and I don't think Iglesias is going to have that same year for them he had. I mean, he had a 34 ERA when he came over to the Braves. That's obviously not going to repeat itself. So I think the Braves might have some work to do on that bullpen.
Yeah, I'm going Scherzer and Verlander and David Robertson. Basically the entire Mets pitching staff, besides Senga, who has some upside.
And I think that's fair for you to say that. I think, and I know that like people could sit here and be like, "Oh, you're shitting on the Mets," but it is just a reality that you have these guys that are this fucking old that work off of power stuff. Surprise story. I wrote this as a surprise story, and then I slept on it. Was like, maybe this isn't a surprise. Michael Harris, top 3 MVP.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call that a surprise, Carl. I mean, he's so good. I mean,
so good.
I
hate how good he is.
Okay, how about this? It's surprised that the public will be surprised. The people who don't follow baseball will be like, Michael who? Even though last year, and the last thing I'd say about Michael Harris, I had a chance, we talked to Matt Olson and Dansby Swanson months apart. Dansby Swanson at the start of when they were starting to get good, and then Matt Olson after the season. And I asked both of them, I was like, what was the moment where you guys went from being average to being very good again this year? And both guys had the exact same answer. It was like when Michael Harris walked in the clubhouse.
Yeah, Michael Harris is scary good. Like he's a big reason why they won on that huge run. Obviously, the last 2/3 of the season. The Braves have so many weapons. They're, like I said, the Braves, Phillies, Mets. These are all really good teams. My surprise story is I think the Mets are going to make a major move. I said Shohei Ohtani, but there's going to be a deadline move where between losing out on Correa and then the Diaz deal, by the way, is completely covered by insurance. So Cohen has some money to burn. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them go out and get either a major reliever, major pitcher, let's say Scherzer or Verlander go down. You're going to see a major move at the deadline the Mets are going to make.
My surprise is it's going to come more of a surprise to Phillies fans than anybody else probably. But Rhys Hoskins is in a contract year, and that means he's going to rake. If healthy, he's going to absolutely mash. And I think he'll be up there with the NL home run leaders this year. I'm calling 40+ for Rhys Hoskins. And his over-under is 27.5 if anybody wants to get on that. Contract year play, totally undervalued. Totally undervalued with how good people actually come out and rake.
I do want to get more into some of those odds. Let's just stick with the script. I want to come back to that. Worst, fill in the blank. This is my favorite prompt. Just worst, whatever you want to talk about. I think it's the worst that the Phillies have been around since 1883, that they rep one of the best fan bases I've ever seen, experienced, or whatever. And they have the same number of World Series as the Miami Marlins. That is the worst.
Yeah, the Phillies have had an atrocious history. I mean, you can go back to the 40s, 50s, 60s, and it's some rough stuff there.
Hey, there was a World Series made in the 50s.
They did.
In your fucking 8th year alive.
How did that go for them?
Bad. The Wheeze kids got beat up by your 65 elderly Yanks.
What was the Whiz kids?
The rosters. The Wheeze kids were
83. Wheeze kids were 83.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies, they're the first professional franchise to have 10,000 losses. Like, the history has been god-awful. But this generation, the previous generation, not that bad. Like, you had the run from 2007, 2011. You had the 93 Phillies. You obviously have now. They went a good 10-plus years from me working for Barstool where they didn't make the playoffs. That sucked. But when they're on, they're on. And this city surrounds them.
Smitty, did you get hired by Barstool when Ryan you were starting a blog when Ryan Howard was tearing his ACL?
Exactly.
Or tearing his Achilles out of the box.
Yep, and 10 straight years. That's why people are coming out last year. Oh, you're a Phillies fan. Just buy that jersey. Like, dude, I was writing about the Phillies when Ben Revere was 8-hopping balls to the plate when he was just behind second base, and Jeremy Hellickson was the starting pitcher ace, and fucking Ryan Sandberg was walking out on this team mid-season. That's not talked about enough, how your boy Ryan is just a complete coward, Carl. Complete coward. Totally gave up on the team.
My boy. I got a story about, you want to call Ryan Sandberg a coward. I got stories about Ryan Sandberg being a coward. But I'm telling you, these are all off record. They'll get, I'm not even joking. Bro, they'll get us all shut down. All right, how about that?
Take it out.
I want these Sandberg stories now.
Oh, I'll tell you the Sandberg stories. As soon as I stop recording, I'll tell you a whopper Sandberg story that'll make you guys look. You'll say, I would never hit and run for that guy. Okay. I'm sorry. Did I gloss over Klemmer? Or did we
we haven't talked about my worst. My worst is the free agent signing. I do this for every division, and mine's Jose Quintana here, Mets guy. But I really wanted him to sign Jamison Taillon. I think when you have two old guys up top, you want a dependable guy. He's going to go out there, make you 32 starts every single time. He might not have Cy Young numbers, but I think Taillon's going to go out there and get the ball every fifth day. Quintana, he's already broken down, and sure enough, what happens, he's going to be out until the All-Star break at least. I don't know. I'm really disappointed they went out and got him, and it already blew up in our face. So not thrilled about the Quintana signing.
My worst is somehow both Frank and KFC. It's my worst. Both combined.
Yeah. They work at Barstool Sports. They're Mets fans. I'm just going to let that one marinate for a second. All right, biggest asshole. Last one. Biggest asshole, period. When you say division, asshole. Now, I've talked before in this. This could be a positive thing. Because there's famous words in baseball, mean. When you say mean things, it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. In this case, though, I do mean bad. I do mean like the guy. Who's the biggest asshole? I'm going to go the Vandy Whistler. Now, I know he's a Vanderbilt fan, but just based purely on geographics, I have to assume that he's a Braves fan when they get to the playoffs, and that motherfucker's walking around the ballpark whistling up a storm, hoping somebody recognizes him from, hey, you the guy from the Vanderbilt games that 1,000 people go to? No, it's never going to happen. The fucking whistles, you ruin Omaha for everybody. Vandy Whistler, he's the worst, and he has literally no formal affiliation to the NL East. That's how much I hate his fucking guts. And he's a nice guy. His name's Jeff.
Yeah, I'm going with Darren Ruff. No one causes more heartache, interruption, volatility in our office. Not the Mean Girls, not Kelly Keegs, not anybody else, but Darren Ruff. Darren Ruff will make the entire day grind to a halt. And he has arthritis in his wrist. Like, why are you still playing baseball? Go away, retire, have a nice life. I wish you the best, Mr. Ruff. He has no business being on the Mets roster, and he completely destroys our office on a daily basis.
Okay, well, the worst I had is KFC and Frank the Tank combo, and now the biggest asshole is Frank the Tank and Chris Klemmer, because poor fucking Darren Ruff, just trying to make a living in the league, doing his childhood dream. Not the worst ball player in the world. Of course, he's not the best. He's absolutely serviceable. He's a Philly for a couple of years. He's a nice young man. played in Korea to sustain his dream. Hey, the Mets signed him. Blame the Mets. Don't blame Darren Ruff. Just a guy who's trying to take his lunch pail to the fucking ballpark and make a living. Fuck you guys.
Were you this high on Darren Ruff when he was a Philly? Were you this much of a Darren Ruff white knight?
Actually, it was 2016 to 2018 when they stunk, and he wasn't a bad ball player in left field. He had a couple pops. He had some mojo going for him, and he was a nice guy. He wasn't expecting to win MVP. Get him off your team if you don't like him. Blame the organization.
I wish you would go off the team. That's what I'm
Well,
asking.
blame the fucking organization. Don't blame Darren Ruff. Blame your guy, Stevie Cohen. Oh, but you have his dick in his mouth 24/7. Yeah.
I will say, I mean, I can understand why you're so upset that we have an owner that spends money and cares about our team.
Congrats on your 101 season. 101 win season. It was a great season.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations on your 87 win season. You know, you guys went far in the playoffs.
Exactly.
You know, admirably. It probably won't happen again. But there you go. I see you guys get knocked out pretty early in the playoffs, but that's fine.
I was going to say biggest asshole. I was just going to say Mets fans generally, but there's too many Mets fans working on the Barstool Baseball vertical for me to shit on them. Like the guy editing this right now is a Mets fan. I don't want to be too mean to him. But I will send this message to Mets fans. You dumb assholes think that championships are won and lost because of guys like Darren Ruff. He could have been the worst player in the history of baseball. I mean, statistically, the worst player in the history of baseball. Every single time. I could have been Darren Ruff last year, and it wouldn't have changed a goddamn thing. When you guys showed up, the Padres beat your brakes off, pal. You got so many bigger things to worry about as Mets fans. But you guys will sit around and you'll ruin that poor guy's life. And that's why I said, hopefully, Frankie Alvarez, because you're going to make him your starting catcher this year. And if he doesn't come out and perform at least average, major league average.
Carl. He went down to the minors.
If he's not major league average by the end of the season, every Mets fan will be walking around going, he's a bust. Insane.
The Mets have to pick up the Brewers scraps, Mr. Omar, to go catch for him because little Frankie Alvarez can't handle it. What are you going to do? You guys went fucking plateau this all season. You did not improve at all. You traded DeGrom for Verlander. Woo, let's go. You traded Taijuan Walker for Senja, an unproven commodity. You got nothing. Yeah, you won 101 games last year and you peaked. Other than that, you're going down, son, and you're going to blame Darren Ruff. Poor guy Darren.
Absolutely will blame Darren Ruff. Let me speak to that first. What was the Mets record last year? 101 wins, right? What was the Braves record? 101 wins. If we had someone who's moderately decent instead of Darren Ruff, maybe we would have beaten the Braves in the division, would have gotten that first round bye. Instead, we're stuck playing the Padres who beat our ass.
And if you had heart, you would have taken it to Joe Musgrove. Instead, you cowered down, you let him spit in your face, and you let Bryce Harper go fucking yam jam. Thank you, ma'am, against him.
You have Taijuan Walker, a guy that breaks down every July like clockwork. Enjoy that in August and September when he's either hurt or giving up gopher balls like you wouldn't believe.
And you know what? I'm a man, and I will not blame Taijuan Walker for the entire Phillies organization failures if they fail.
That's a great point, and let's take a moment to collect ourselves right there, guys, because that's a great point. I feel like who am I? He just retired. Is it Bill or Jim Hallion or Talion, the umpire who retired, who got in the middle of Terry Collins? You got to understand where the league's coming from. They're up my ass too. I want to get in between you guys for a second to make a point that this is what this is about. That this is what this vertical is about, the brand's about Barstool Baseball, is I've been sitting here and working on this, and I see guys like you walking around the office, and people every day just want to fucking rip each other's throats off. The games haven't even started yet. Last year, the Mets were objectively a better team than the Phillies. The Phillies made it further and were way closer to a championship. And this is the dichotomy of the sport. Who would you rather be right now? Would you rather be a Phillies fan or would you rather be a Mets fan? I don't know. I don't know. I think you have owners that are both willing to spend money. I think you have superstar players that are locked up. I don't think there will ever be a time, as long as those owners are alive, that you guys will be walking into a spring training expecting less than 90 wins right now. It's not going to happen for a long, long time. But who would you rather be for the next 10 years?
It's a great time to be a Phillies and a Mets fan, for sure. The fact that we can have this back and forth, both our teams made the playoffs last year. I have both teams making the playoffs this year. It's a good place to be. I'd rather be a Mets fan only because of Cohen. I just think that having that bankroll and having an owner that's willing to do whatever it takes, as opposed to just doing what the Major League Baseball allows you to do is different. But I mean, the Phillies have great ownership too. I mean, we're talking about two very good positions.
Yeah, but I mean, the difference between Steve Cohen and John Middleton is John Middleton will go out, spend the money, stay quiet about it. Steve Cohen expects everyone to kiss his dick over it. Look, the Phillies are going to be objectively better than last year. They are. They were an 87-win team last year. They were 22-29 when Joe Girardi got fired, one of the best teams afterwards in Major League Baseball. And people were saying, oh, Bryce is out this year. How are you going to win without him? He was out for 63 games last year during the time when they were winning. They're going to be fine. And they just added. Carl, their bullpen was historically shit up to 2 years ago. They blew at one point 8 games in 6 games. They blew 8 saves
statistically impossible. Okay.
I don't even know how that's possible. Like, it is statistically impossible, but, like, I still don't know how that's possible. Now, this year, you got Seranthia Dominguez, certified baller, Jose Alvarado coming back. You ditched Robertson. Have fun with that as your closer, Klemmer. You added Gregory Soto. You added fucking
I'm fun with that.
I mean, Soto's not going to be expected to close games. You added Craig Kimbrell. You added Matt Strom. You got Connor Brogdon coming back who can shove. Barry Falter, probably going to be the 5th starter, ended up in the bullpen. I mean, this bullpen's going to be one of the best in baseball this year.
You got Craig Kimbrell? Oh, my God. Carl, what year is it again?
Well, here's the thing about Craig. I wrote him off several times. And he is, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and hey, shut your face for a second because Craig Kimbrell is not going to be expected to. He's not going to be expected to close games. All right, he's going to be expected to be a 6th, 7th, 8th inning guy. Good for him. But they have 4 guys that can come in and shove and close if they need.
Third year on the ballot.
You guys got David Robertson, who's expected to close games. Good luck with that.
We're going to do a little extra innings here. Again, another preview that goes long, based purely on the passion. I love you guys for this. We're going to 2 innings here. Top of the 10th, bottom of the 10th. Top of the 10th, I want to apologize to all 6 Marlins fans that are watching this and all 16 of you nationally. We haven't talked about the Marlins. There's a reason why you're irrelevant. However, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I do have a vision after watching the World Baseball Classic where the Miami Marlins build this super team of Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and Cubans and just fucking load that stadium up and treat it like a World Baseball Classic environment. We have struggled so hard as a league, as a sport, to make Miami what we think should be a baseball community, where it's like you got guys like us showing up and fucking keeping score and all that bullshit. Turn it into a fucking party. Like, turn Miami. If you've been out to dinner in Miami, you go out to a steakhouse in Miami, all of a sudden you just see girls walking around in heels and smoke comes out of the fucking screen. You got a DJ in the corner, music super loud. It's an amazing experience. My point broader about this is the Miami Marlins have something there with the community, with the culture, with the passion that people have for baseball, but for whatever reason, Major League Baseball won't harness it. Now, it's bad leadership, it's bad ownership, and I don't give a fuck about the past. My point about this with the Marlins is looking forward and ahead and coming out of the World Baseball Classic. I have a glimmer of hope in my eye. No, that's not a ring light, folks. That's just a small chance that maybe the Miami Marlins become the super. Could you imagine an like a late September meaningful game there, and the drums, and it's one of those places where the horns are blowing. I want a piece of that.
Carl, it happened. It happened in 97, 03, and then nobody really cared anymore. I mean, it's ownership. It's. I can understand how fans there must feel like they get the rug pulled out from under them so many times that it must be hard to get past that. I think they have a more interesting team than the Nationals for sure. They have more talent. They have some interesting players, like getting Arias from the Twins. He's probably the best contact hitter in baseball. That's interesting. I don't know if it makes you a contender, especially in this division. If they were in the Central, they might have a fight.
Yeah, the Marlins, unfortunately, they're a bunch of gnats. They got, like, decent ball players here and there, but they're not going to be able to get there this year. Like, I love, like, Joey Wendell. Like, I wish he was, like, a utility guy for the Phillies. Like, he's just a great, just ball player. Garrett Cooper can slug a little bit. I mean, Alcantara's a Cy Young winner, obviously. They got Gene Segura, who's a very good
hitter.
Ball player, but they're not going to be able to put it all together.
No. And
they're just not.
Last thing for top 10 on Marlins, only 2 of 26 guys on the opening day roster will be draft picks, and one's a backup, and the other one's Trevor Rogers. So it's just you're never going to have success as an organization like that. You have to draft and develop, and it's one of the reasons why the Phillies are able to go out and give massive contracts, because they do have players and pitchers in, that they've brought in homegrown. Okay, bottom 10, Smitty, we talked just briefly a little bit about this. Odds, if we want to do some odds and some gambling stuff, I know you came prepared for it. Klemmer, if you're not, I still want to know what you think about it.
Oh, I am. I mean, if we're talking National League East, obviously. Give me 1 second here. Oh, I don't have any National League East picks. I didn't know we were doing this.
No, we're not. This is why it's extra innings. This is pure international rules. You didn't see it coming. You're out of fucking relievers. We're gonna hand it over to General.
Yeah, I got a couple. I think the Marlins, Jesus. I think the Mets 93.5. I think that's a fire under. I just don't see them obviously not getting to 101 wins, but I see them flirting with 90. I see the Phillies above 89.5. They were objectively better than last year when they won 87. I see Rhys Hoskins 27.5 home runs. Hammer that over. If he's healthy, he is going to shatter that. And also Trey Turner plus 1,100 for leading the league in stolen bases. He's not even close to the top pick there. I mean, I think Acuna's like plus 400, and you got a couple other guys there. Trey Turner, excellent value, plus 1,100, because he's already talking about the new pickoff rules. He loves them. And he's going to take advantage of them.
I think Smitty makes a really good point there with Trey Turner, especially look at some of those guys that are above him in this, as far as who's a more favored guy to lead the majors in steals. A lot of those guys aren't going to play every day, like John Birdie. But a guy like Trey Turner is going to be out there every day. I think, like you said, great value in that for plus 1,100. I like that.
And the fact that we just got a John Birdie reference this deep into the NL East preview is exactly why I love Chris Klemmer. John Birdie, career grinder in the minor leagues, would go out and steal 70 bases a year in the minors, finally gets his chance. He's one of the great stolen base threats in Major League Baseball, but nobody knows who he is. Thank you very much, Klemmer. Smitty, what do we got?
I got one more. I got Zach Wheeler under 180.5 strikeouts. He has pitched the most innings in baseball the past 2 years. They've already said they're going to cool him down, prepare him for the playoffs. 180.5. Yeah, if he was pitching the way he has last 2 years, obviously he's a strikeout dominant pitcher. There's nothing against him. I think it's a workload thing. It's just workload. They're not going to give him enough innings to get 180.5.
Once again, I completely agree with Smitty. Wheeler didn't even have 180 strikeouts last year. So he only had 163. So I think that's once again, smart play, especially if they're already talking about maybe kind of leveling him down a little bit.
Hey, appreciate you guys for doing this. I got a little bet thing here. I'm just going to take a look at the Nationals in April. Once they break camp, it's a young team, new rules. And when I say early, just the first 3 weeks of the season, I think you're going to see some massive lines when they're going through and you have the true 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matchups to start the season. Later in the year, fade the Nationals. But first 2-3 weeks of the season, when I see them around the plus 170 mark for absolutely no reason, you better believe I'm going to be sprinkling them. This is the Barstool. I know, hey, I see that face, but there's a lot of change right now, Klemmer. There's a lot of change, and change normalizes.
You're not going to have much change left if you bet on the Nationals.
For the first 20, first 20 games of the season, the Nationals can win 8 times.
Yeah, all right. That gives you like a 400 winning percentage. All right.
Yeah. The profit that's a nice return. That would be a nice return. 8-12 would get you a nice return. That's my point of this. All right, guys. This is the Barstool Baseball Preview Show. This is the NL East. This is on our YouTube page. It has been cut and distributed throughout our social platforms. This is Smitty. This is Klemmer. I am Carl. We're going to be here throughout the season, rotating cast of characters with the most passionate fans of baseball, the most knowledgeable. As you see right here, these guys know exactly what they're talking about. Follow our stuff, share our stuff, and until then, we will see you guys next time.